welcome back to another reading. And if you guys are new here, hi, my name is Astra. I am an intuitive tarot reader and I do tarot readings here on my channel. Today I am back with another members Q&A. If you guys are watching and you don't know already that I do have this membership where my members get to participate every month in the monthly Q&A and ask questions about their favorites. So if you are also interested in participating in the Q&A, I will have the link down of the membership down in the description below. But other than that, let's get started into the questions. So first question we have here is, how is the relationship going between Afra and Mert currently? And just to let you guys know, I do plan on doing an updated full reading on the two of them since a lot of my members have been requesting, so I will have that coming in the next few sets. And please also be mindful that right now, like when I check, it's just one question, so I'm just picking one time, so I obviously am not gonna get the full picture of every single thing that's happening and every single detail. I'm just checking overall based on the question, okay? So once I check in the full reading, I might get more aspects and more into detail what exactly is happening, but right now I'm just telling you guys the overall picture, okay? How are things between Afra and Mert right now? How are things between Afra and Mert right now? Okay guys, so when it comes to Afra and Mert, I do see that things are sort of, in a sense, up and down between the two of them. And I think I saw something similar the last time I checked as well for the two of them. There is like this thing where things feel sort of up and down. 1 minute, it's almost like there is movement in their bond and there is hope. And then suddenly there becomes a sense of distance or shutdown from one or both of them, okay? And so I recently do see that there has been some sort of big thing that happened between the two of them that might have like caused disappointment or maybe a small argument, or some sort of shift happened where that sort of changed their dynamic a bit, all right? And so there is like this sense that both of them are trying to stay composed and trying to stay strong and act mature about the situation instead of like reacting emotionally, okay? And so there's like this sense of a feeling where they're like, should we keep trying or should we like just like let this go, okay? And so I feel like they are sort of stuck into that, between holding on and at the same time deciding if they want to move forward once and for all or not, okay? Because they care about each other. There is definitely love and feelings still there, and that's why they're still stuck in this situation, because if it was just easy, they would have just fully moved forward. And that's not what I'm seeing here. I'm feeling that there is still like a sense of trying to work things out, but at the same time, them coming into obstacles and then seeing that, okay, are we wrong for trying to move this forward, or are we not, okay? And so I feel like there's specifically one person that is sort of withdrawn and bored and tired and not really satisfied with how things are, okay? But even though they both still have attachment there, okay? And so none of them definitely feel like there's like a sense that we're completely over, okay? For them, the connection isn't completely over. Sometimes there can be periods where there is quietness, sometimes there is connection. That's how their connection feels right now, okay? But definitely there is also another one of them that it feels that they need to think very carefully before making any sort of move when it comes to their bond. They're definitely not rushing. They're definitely taking their time and seeing how things are, okay? But you know, some things happened in their relationship, and that's why they're sort of acting towards things pretty much differently, okay? And one of them sometimes can feel mentally like trapped and can be anxious or cannot stop replaying things in their head because, you know, I feel like they would just sometimes sit and worry about the outcomes and stuff like that, while one of them tries to stay calm and collected and pretty much using their mind in this situation. They do not want to let their emotions get involved, okay? But I do feel like sometimes there is communication between the two of them, but it's sort of like in small doses right now, okay? But overall, it looks like definitely there is something not very good happening right now, but it doesn't feel like they fully finished things right now, okay? They're still like sort of in this transition period where they're trying to figure out whether this connection becomes stable again or not, okay? So yeah, I hope that made sense, and I'm gonna check more in depth and see more aspects, what could be affecting things when I check in the full reading. So stay tuned for that. All right. Next question I have here is, how is the relationship between Emin and Ilsu? Okay, so let's see, how is the relationship between Emin and Isu? And I really hope I'm saying their names right, okay? So let's see, how are things between Emin and Isu right now? How are things between Emin and Isu? Okay, I'm feeling pulled to pull some cards over here. Anything for Emin and Isu? Okay, so it's interesting. I got milk and honey for the two of them and tick-tock. Okay, so when it comes to their bond, and I'm seeing that definitely their connection is definitely more stable and more calm than anything negative, okay? Like there's a sense of comfort and familiarity and, you know, peacefulness between the two of them. They almost go like milk and honey. Like they both sort of have these aspects that when they combine together, it's really good. And, you know, there's like a sense of compatibility between the two of them, okay? They're two things that can mix together, and once they mix together, it just is nice and it feels like it fits, okay? And I feel like they are able to collaborate well. They are able to work well together, okay? And I feel like they actually put effort into the work that they do, and their connection as well, okay? But I am seeing that there is some sort of shift that happened when it comes to their bond recently, where it felt like a turning point, like something has shifted, completed, or something maybe has felt more serious emotionally for the two of them, okay? There is definitely emotional interest that they both share when it comes to each other. I've seen it the last time I checked for them. And so it definitely doesn't feel shallow, but at the same time, the energy regarding the two of them is very slow and careful, okay? And I feel like this is necessarily one specific person out of the two of them, not necessarily both of them. Like there's one of them that, you know, has their guard up a bit, and they feel pulled side to side because they feel certain stuff, but at the same time they want to be careful and they don't want to put their hopes up a lot, okay? So there's one of them that specifically is in the sense that they want to be slow moving when it comes to their bond, okay? And so one of them or both of them can sometimes make a lot of decisions after a lot of thinking, okay? And so there's like a sense of, you know, this great bonding or a friendship, but at the same time it's like mixed with feelings, okay? So they generally enjoy each other's company, you know, outside of romance alone, okay? And I feel like one of them though definitely feels like this connection does have potential to be something official, or at least they have thoughts of it, okay? But like I said, one of them is like sort of more independent. They value their personal space or freedom, or like they're more practical, okay? And there's one person that is more like, I'm ready to climb, I'm ready to do this. And, you know, it's just that sort of thing that is creating the wall between the two of them, okay? And sometimes I do see that there can be mental stress or overthinking, especially from one of them, okay? Sometimes they can get trapped in their own thoughts and not sure what the right move can be when it comes to their bond, because there is hidden emotions, but at the same time fear and a sense of confusion if this is something that is real that can move towards something serious, or is it just, you know, because they're around each other a lot, okay? But yeah, that's what I'm seeing for the two of them. If you guys are interested in seeing a full reading for Eman and Isu, I am down to do that as well. Just let me down in the comments below, because I do feel like there's a lot to uncover when it comes to their bond as well, okay? So let's get into the next question. All right, so how does Jisoo feel about her brother's sexual abuse slash domestic violence case? Okay, let's see. How does Jisoo feel about her brother's case? How does Jisoo feel about her brother's case? Alright, you guys. So I'm getting here the Queen of Cups, and right away I'm getting the Five of Cups and the Seven of Wands. So I feel like definitely this situation has made Jisoo feel conflicted eternally, okay? And so I feel like definitely her emotions got stirred up when it comes to this situation. Like I feel like a part of her is really trying to process the situation, but at the same time there is a part of her that does want to stay controlled, logical, and careful how she approaches things, because she is aware how public things have became, okay? But there's definitely a big sense of disappointment and distrust surrounding the situation, okay? And it definitely made her question some people's actions that she knows and their motives, and there are some things that she felt that were hidden, and you know, that sort of made her question some people around her too, okay? And so there's definitely a big sense of disappointment, okay? But there's also this sense that, you know, there is a sense of like memories and family being involved into this, so there's like a sense of emotion coming into this as well, that it's harder for her to detach emotionally completely from the situation, okay? And with the world, she's definitely aware how sensitive and public the situation is, and so there is definitely a lot of caution that she definitely is aware of when it comes to words, image, and, you know, information that comes out, okay? So I feel like definitely there's like a big sense of her as well that she doesn't want to do any impulsive emotional reactions, okay? So definitely she is definitely feeling that she needs to be more measured regarding the situation and guarded, okay? But there's a big sense that she does not really want to associate with the situation, because there's also a sense of definitely protecting herself and her stability, okay? But definitely I feel like that this situation has definitely burdened her a lot, okay? And for the most part, you know, she wants to keep moving after this situation because she does have responsibilities that she needs to handle, okay? But I feel like deep down this situation definitely affected her, and made her feel a lot of sadness and disappointment at the same time, okay? All right, next question we have here is on Frederick and Lisa, an update regarding the two of them. Okay, let me just start seeing these cards. Okay, so what's the update on Frederick and Lisa? Okay. I'm getting pulled to pick from here. Anything about Frederick and Lisa? What's going on between Frederick and Lisa right now? Okay. Alright, so I got a lot of cards. Alright, so when it comes to Lisa and Frederick, as you guys can see probably from the messages as well that I got, is that things are sort of a bit shooken up when it comes to the two of them, and it feels a bit sense of emotionally intense as well, okay? It doesn't feel like things are honestly peaceful between the two of them, okay? There is definitely, though, a lot of, careness and attachment involved when it comes to this connection, that it's hard to let go even if they are not maybe in continuous contact or stuff like that, okay? I'm definitely seeing a sense of hurtness and disappointment, and I feel like there has definitely come a lot of sense of pain and sadness and heartbreak when it comes to their connection, okay, at one point, okay? And so there's like this sense that I want to protect myself and I want to distance myself right now, and I just want to look from afar. It's so interesting how I got the High Priestess and then the Queen of Swords, which is like stalking or looking from afar, okay? So there is one of them, or I feel like the two of them at some point have pulled back emotionally and became quieter. Like it's almost like a sense of like a break. And so there's definitely, so there's like a sense of distance and isolation energy here. But even after this distance and isolation, there's a big sense that I'm still keeping eye on you. I wonder what you're doing. And I'm not fully disconnected, okay? So even after certain pain that they both have gone through, this connection to them still looks important and meaningful to them, okay? And so I do see that, definitely things have went bad for them. Maybe a couple months ago. I'm not sure the exact timing, but it wasn't like way too far. Things have definitely went bad for them, where they felt like they sort of have to make distance away from each other and sort of leave in a sense, okay? But even after they sort of left, there is like this thing that is connecting to them still, okay? And even after that happened, there is one of them that was stuck thinking about what went wrong and focusing on regrets and what sort of thing they have lost, okay? But there was a big sense of emotional dissatisfaction and boredom when it comes to their bond that they felt at some point, okay? And I think I saw this the last time I checked. I'm not really sure when the last time I checked for them was, but there is definitely a sense of not feeling satisfied and feeling like there was something missing. And that's what I'm seeing here as well, that they felt like they needed to change something, okay? But even when they changed something, they couldn't fully let go. There is still like this sense that they feel pulled by side to side, that, I don't know what is the right path for us. But at the same time, I just feel like I need to probably leave because it's not feeling right. And at the same time, when they sort of distance away from each other, there's still like the sense that I feel like we still have things to resolve and discuss, but there's also this sense that, maybe me and you are two different people. I have own things that I believe in, you have own things that you believe in too, and I feel like work has came into this a lot as well, okay? And so I do see that when it comes to their dynamic, sometimes it feels hot and sometimes it feels cold. Sometimes there is passion and care and movement, but then sometimes it feels like one of them is emotionally withdrawn or not really as satisfied as they want to be, okay? So I feel like it really goes back like that between these two, okay? And so I do feel like there's like this sense right now where they stand is that they do want fairness and clarity and accountability, okay? So they do want answers, they want to discuss things, okay? But I want to mention that there is like a big sense that when they were sort of distance away from each other, there's this sense that I want to try to prove to you that I'm okay without you. So maybe there could have been involvement of third parties, or one of them was trying to make the other jealous, or show the other things that, see, I'm able to live without you, I'm doing well without you. But what's funny is I'm seeing that they both were seeing each other doing those things, and there's like a sense of like stalking as well, okay? So there is still an emotional pull that they feel to each other, and so I feel like things are not completely finished because there's unfinished business that they have, but they definitely have took time to distance away from each other, okay? But like I said, there's a lot of emotional pride that got involved of not wanting to show the other person that they were affected about what happened between the two of them, okay? So they are technically connected by emotions, okay? But they're not fully on great terms right now is what I can say, okay? So I hope that made sense. Sorry if it was confusing. All right, let's get into the next question. Let's see, what's the energy about Luke's career? Okay, so let's take a look. How are things looking for Luke's career right now? That was quick. Okay, I'm just gonna get from here. Anything else about Luke's career right now? Anything else about Luke's career right now? Okay, interesting. One more. Okay, so when it comes to Luke's career, I do feel like that there is like a sense of stability when it comes to him feeling that there is something that he has built for himself. But I do feel like there is a sense of him also feeling that he does want to focus on also building something for him long term when it comes to success and security for himself, okay? So there's like this sense of, I feel like I need to do something more, and I don't know which direction to head, but I feel like I need to build something more for my long-term success and stability, okay? So he does feel like he is already in a good position, and his work is sort of in this position where it's sort of becoming more established, and he is becoming more, respected in his field, okay? I also feel like there is a past experience or something that he's been involved in that is still playing a role, like he's building on what he already experienced and already something familiar, okay? So I do think there's definitely like this expansion phase coming up for him where he definitely seems to be planning and thinking ahead and preparing for something bigger than, he doesn't want to stay at the same level. He does want to build higher, okay? So he definitely is thinking about the fruition of the future of, what he wants from now on, okay? But he's definitely not rushing his moves. There's a lot of sense of, I know that things are going to move slowly at some certain point, but he's right now wanting to think very deeply into what can be coming, okay? There was a certain point where he was questioning where, he's headed and feeling not very satisfied with certain things that he was doing. But right now there's a sense that he does want to feel passion again. He wants to feel proud of what he's doing and making again, okay? And right now he wants to head a certain way. He's just not sure how to do it and which way to head where. Yeah, like right now he does have a lot of plans and a lot of ideas. He's just like sort of piecing them together, okay? So he knows that he does have a path for himself, and he does have faith that good things are gonna come, but right now he's like in this sort of, building things and thinking and brainstorming, okay? And so he definitely wants his path to look structured and serious, okay? So I do feel like there is like certain projects that right now he is considering, or maybe something right now is in development or in the preparation stage, okay, but probably not really revealed yet. But I do feel like he does have a couple of things that he right now is having up his sleeve, and also there is a couple of projects offered to him that could be also what he's undecided about and trying to choose right now. But you know, I feel like that definitely he does want to pick his projects wisely, because he does want to feel passion into what he's doing. It's not like really just about making money, you know, he wants to enjoy what he's doing as well. Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm seeing for Luke right now when it comes to his career. Next question is about Antonia's career. Okay, so let's see, how are things for Antonia when it comes to her career? Okay, so for Antonia, when it comes to her career, I do feel like that, you know, things are a bit intense when it comes to her career right now. Like, it feels that she also is trying to sort of piece things together, but she's not really able to find her direction or know her path, okay? So I feel like she definitely has went through disappointment or frustration or feeling let down about some point of her career, okay? And so I do feel like there is a big sense of her wanting to reach a certain point in her career. She feels like there is a change that she feels that needs to happen, and there's a certain someone that she feels that she should build a partnership with. So you know, it makes her easier for her to find projects, or maybe she does want to be in a project with that certain person. And so I feel like she has been trying to sort of, you know, build things with that person career wise, okay? But it feels like the other person is not really, you know, interested in that. And so she feels like that has sort of been like a blockage, okay? So I feel like she has been trying to make connection with certain people or put herself out there, but it just hasn't been going the same way that she wants to, okay? But at the same time, she's definitely not someone that is willing to give up when it comes to her career, okay? She is determined, and I feel like there's like the sense that she'll keep pushing no matter what, okay? But sometimes it definitely can get exhausting for her. And sometimes she does feel like she is under pressure, and you know, she's under pressure that she is trying to grow something, but at the same time she feels that she also needs to protect what she has built already, okay? But she definitely wants something new. There is something that she does want to build up into something new, okay? Is in the process and in the workings of trying to start something fresh when it comes to her career, like a new project, a new skill, or maybe even a role, okay? So I feel like she is in the process of working that, but there's like obstacles, okay? Okay, next question is the current energy of Luke and Antonia, okay? What's the current energy of Luke and Antonia? Okay, so when it comes to their connection, I do feel like it's sort of going through a certain transition. When it comes to ending an old phase when it comes to their bond, okay? So it feels like something when it comes to their relationship that used to happen between the two of them is not really the same anymore, okay? So definitely, like, I'm getting the Six of Swords, the Death. So there's like some sort of something in their relationship that is ending, an old phase that is ending, okay? Something that they used to do or something that is between them is no longer the same, okay? So from one of them, there is like a sense of emotional distance and withdrawal. Like that specific person is more stepping back instead of being fully engaged when it comes to their bond, okay? But at the same time, one of them holds a big attachment when it comes to their bond, and they feel like that they have been investing in this bond and want it to turn into something complete, okay? And so one of them has really been wanting to push towards stability in their bond and wanting things to move forward, you know, even deeper, okay? And into possibly even something committed, all right? But at the same time, there's one of them that is trying to focus on their work, themselves, and, you know, real life responsibilities instead of like fully investing in this emotional connection, okay? Okay, so there's like a sense that, you know, some things are sort of gonna align recently into something more clear. Like right now, I feel like things are all over the place. One of them is feeling like more emotionally connected, and one of them is like sort of withdrawn, okay? But I feel like that things are gonna be more aligned soon, and it will come into a full bigger picture, okay? But like I said, there's also a lot of things going on, like mixed thoughts or opinions, and one of them like overthinking and not sure. One of them is like not really sure what they want or how they want their connection to head, okay? They don't want to really focus into the future aspect, while the other person is like, no, I want to see where things are headed and I want things to head a certain way, okay? But yeah, that's like what I'm seeing for the two of them. Alright, next question is, are IU and Lee Jongsuk still together? Okay, so let's see. How are things between IU and Lee Jongsuk? Are they still together? Are IU and Lee Jongsuk still together? Get more clarity regarding this. How is the bond between IU and Lee Jongsuk right now? Are they still together? Okay, I got a lot of cards again. So absence, unexpected outcome, destiny, and escape. It's so interesting how I got destiny and escape for them as well. All right, so when it comes to IU and Lee Jongsuk, there is a lot that goes on when it comes to these two, okay? I'm not sure what is seen on social media and all of that, but there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes for these two. Like, they go through a lot that a lot of people do not see, okay? And so I do feel like that their connection has gone through multiple disruptions or breakup type of stuff in their bond, like multiple times, okay? And after, you know, going through that stuff, you know, there is a mix of them like trying to stay normal, or, you know, trying to not sort of let those things affect them, but at the same, and trying to act friendly with each other even after those stuff. So even when maybe, for example, they decide to sort of break things off, they still choose to stay friendly and connected to each other, okay? But right now, when it comes to their bond, I do feel like it's at this position where it's on and off as well. And, you know, because there is still a lot of attraction, a lot of value, a lot of care still present in their bond, even after all that they went through, okay? But at the same time, like I said, it feels inconsistent and it feels not really stable, okay? And one of them, they don't want these sort of separations or, disagreements happening between the two of them, okay? One of them like really feels the absence of another person when things sort of break off between the two of them, okay? They feel really tired. They feel like things did not go the way that I want, and a part of me is missing without you. I feel like I cannot really function. While there's like this other person that's like, I'm like sort of tied in this cycle and I'm not able to get out, okay? So one of them is not really satisfied with how things are going, and one of them doesn't really care. Like, even if they disagree on certain stuff, they want to keep going as long as they're together, while the other person's like, no, I just don't feel like this is right, okay? And these top two are about the person that really cares and wants things to keep moving forward no matter what. And then these sort of cards are about this person that they don't know which path to go. They feel like they should leave, and they do leave, but then they find themselves struggling to find the right path because they sort of feel bad for the other person because they see how the other person gets affected, okay? All right, so I do feel like that they definitely sometimes pull back and spend more time alone, reflecting and emotionally detaching at times, okay? But at the same time, there's a lot of attempts to keep trying again and moving forward, even after, things weren't just really good between the two of them. So honestly, it's a confusing relationship. So I'm sorry if I'm confusing you guys, but it's also not very clear when it comes to their bond, because there's also like, there's a big sense of like going ahead and going back, going ahead and going back, okay? Because there is definitely a lot of care, and so they don't want to hurt each other, okay? And I feel like there is one of them that is completely caring and empathetic, and they cannot see the other person hurting. And sometimes, like, because they cannot see that, they sometimes compromise and try things again for the other person. But when we're talking about them personally, they feel tied up, okay? So I honestly right now see that they both are not really clear where they stand, okay? They're not really rushing anything when it comes to their bond, but they're not fully disconnected either, okay? So there's like a sense of emotional distance right now, but they're still connected sometimes. Like, I feel like things are friendly, okay? And so right now, they're not really in a simple, stable, or clearly defined phase right now, okay? So there's one of them that is like sort of trying to move forward with their life, but at the same time, they still feel emotionally tied to this connection, okay? And one of them just keeps looking back and stalking and seeing how the other is doing without them, and they just feel like they have to keep a lot of their feelings in and just watch from a distance. But I feel like there's like a lot of jealousy involved too as well when they see the other like sort of moving forward, okay? They're very like emotionally connected. All right, so I'm sorry if that was confusing, but it's like seriously how their bond is at the moment. I feel like even they are confused, so it's hard for me to put into words, but I hope you guys got the full picture, okay? All right, next question is, Jisoo and Ahn Bohyun were in Kane's France at the same time. Did they see each other? All right, let's take a look. Did Jisoo and Ahn Bohyun see each other in France? Did Jisoo and Ahn Bohyun see each other in France? Interesting. All right, so I do see when it comes to their bond, there definitely was like a sense of timing or alignment where their paths could have realistically crossed because they were sort of in the same place, okay? But there is a sense of one of them technically feeling that, they knew that they were sort of like in the same environment or at the same place. And so they were looking forward to, you know, meeting and maybe reconnecting and seeing each other at that moment, while there was this other one that was feeling a sense that they were focused, they were seriously busy, and they were occupied, and they weren't really looking for something. But the other person was like, no, I wonder if they're around, and they were like looking for them, like their eyes were looking for them sometimes, okay? If like maybe there's like this certain accident or something that can happen, okay? And so there's like a big sense of watching and awareness energy, okay? Of like noticing what's happening and being alert if the other person can be around or something like that, okay? And so obviously that person still has like a sense of attraction and familiarity to that person. But at the same time, they are aware that they need to not really make it obvious, okay? So they never really took a step forward to that, okay? But I'm not really seeing a strong sign or a confirmed meeting regarding the two of them, at least where they fully engage into like a conversation. Like, I'm not really seeing that, okay? All right, and I feel like that actually made one of them that was like looking disappointed. All right, but one of them like fully feels that they stepped out of this relationship. They feel like that they fully, you know, are checked out. They are not really looking for anything. They're confident in themselves and they know what they are, and you know, they weren't really looking for the other person, and they weren't really even paying attention, okay? They were just busy in their own work, okay? But yeah, I feel like there's like a big sense of one of them as well not really trusting the other, so they don't really find the need that they need to be involved with the other anymore as well, okay? But yeah, that's what I'm seeing for the two of them. So I'm not really seeing a clear face-to-face meeting, at least for the two of them right now. All right, next question is about Harry Styles and Zoe are getting married. How is their relationship like, okay? How is the relationship between Harry and Zoe? How is the relationship like between Zoe and Harry? All right, so when it comes to Harry and Zoe, I do feel like one of them is technically attracted to someone who feels unique, artistic, independent, and someone that is emotionally and someone that is deep, okay, underneath the surface, okay? And so I feel like the other to them naturally gives off that energy, and you know, so one of them really finds the other really very inspiring and interesting, okay? And the other one likes someone who gives them freedom and doesn't try to control them, okay? And so that's why they fit, because their partner is someone that is calm, open-minded, okay? And so they really feel that they really feel that they are able to be comfortable around that person, okay? And so their sort of bond does give like sort of best friends to lovers type of thing. You know, it's not really super dramatic of a relationship, but I do feel like that they really connected a lot through artistic stuff like creativity, music, art, fashion, you know, and certain shared experiences that they both shared, okay? And so one of them really found that when they are with each other, there's a lot of softness, romance, and you know, I feel like one of them also brings a lot of confidence and maturity and adventure to their relationship, okay? And so I feel like one of them does make the other feel emotionally safe without pressuring the other, and one of them does help the other feel grounded and understood. And so with me getting the lovers as well, that's sort of making me feel like they are able to sort of fit together, because they are sort of able to balance each other out. They have a lot of shared things, but you know, when they come together, like they are able to sort of balance each other out, and they are able to understand each other, okay? Like neither of them like to have like this sort of clingy or controlling relationship, okay? They sort of sometimes also give each other space without, you know, taking it personally. Like they seem to have like a very understanding relationship, okay? But I do see that, you know, when it comes to issues, sometimes they both can sort of like pull away without just sort of confronting the problems directly, okay? And, you know, sometimes they may need some time before talking things through, okay? All right, and so I feel like also one of them probably experienced a mistrust in one of their past relationships, and, you know, this relationship sort of made them feel safe again. Like, they have learned that bad experience do not shape other people that you can be with, okay? And so I feel like when one of them, when they met the other, they were like, wow, I feel like I won the lottery. And so I feel like one of them, right when they met, they sort of like, yes, I wanted to be committed to this person. Like, it didn't really take them a long while. I'm not sure how long they were together, but it feels like it was, you know, a quick like sense of I know, or I'm feeling that this can develop into something serious. Okay, so I hope that made sense for the two of them. Now for Jisoo and Jung Haein, what stage is their connection at the moment? Do they still think of each other? Okay, so let's check. What stage is the connection between Jisoo and Jung Haein at right now? Okay. What stage is the connection between Jisoo and Jung Haein at right now? Okay. I'm just gonna check from here. What stage is the connection between Jisoo and Jung Haein at right now? One more for Jisoo and Jung Haein. Alright, you guys, so when it comes to their bond, I would like to say it's still very alive mentally and emotionally, even if things are not very active or clearly defined right now, okay? So they're not really at the defined stage, if I'm being honest with you guys, okay? There's definitely a lot of nostalgia and memories over here, okay? And so they definitely still think about each other. They still remember each other from time to time, okay? And so they haven't really emotionally erased their connection, okay? But they definitely are both very focused on moving forward when it comes to their lives and their goals and their personal direction. So they're not really stopping at each other, if that makes sense, okay? So they think about each other, they still care about each other, but they're like, I have to take care of my financial and emotional needs, and I want to move forward when it comes to my life. And so to do that, they sort of had to sort of mentally clear their mind so they can sort of move forward and not really look back, okay? But that doesn't mean that they sort of fully like moved on or ended things. It's just that they are not at the place where they want to deal with things. They're like, not today. This is a very complicated situation. I am avoiding to sort of contact directly and deal with this because this is like sort of a messy situation, okay? And so right now there is like a sense of not close contact between the two of them, okay? But there's definitely a lot of care and looking back, but I feel like there's like a sense of mutual agreement between the two of them that they'll just move forward, and, you know, if they are gonna come back or sort of try to work things again, it will naturally happen. But right now it's like sort of at this place where, you know, we're just gonna see our lives as if we're just seeing our lives from here on, and I'm not really stopping myself from going forward because of this specific person, okay? So there's like a big sense of pride and self-control here, okay? And so they both do not really want to appear really emotionally vulnerable to each other, okay? um but specifically, there is one of them that is emotionally mature on the surface, but underneath, they're holding a lot of feelings more tightly than they'd like to admit. But at the same time, they have built a lot of strength to not depend on this connection anymore, or to sort of fully let their mind think of it over and over again. They sort of built a sense of detachment, a healthy detachment, like not in a bad way, okay? And so it's their connection right now is at like, it's at a pause, but it's not over, okay? They haven't fully ended things, but it's sort of like this sense of, I'm not dealing with this today, and it stayed on, I'm not dealing with this today, if that makes sense, okay? So it's like almost like something that has been set aside, but not fully disconnected from, okay? So things seem to have slowed down between the two of them at the moment, okay? Because there's a lot of indecisiveness involved, and it felt like it was something that wasn't really moving. Like I said before, it was like something that, when they move forward, they move back at the same time, or they're not really moving forward in a fast space, okay? And I feel like it definitely got tiring for the two of them. So they felt like it's definitely not fair to hold themselves back, if a connection wasn't really moving forward, okay? All right, next question is on Jung Haein and Kim Saeyeon, and she's former Miss Korea. Apparently, they are very close. Does he see her as a potential romantic partner? Okay, and just to let you guys know, I do have a plan to do a Jung Haein solo reading soon, so I'm gonna be taking a look into his love life more when I check for that. But right now, let's see. How is his bond with Kim Saeyeon? Does he see her as a potential romantic partner? Okay, so definitely I'm seeing in their bond, they both value each other a lot. So I feel like they do play an important part in each other's lives, and they are possibly close, okay? So there's like a big sense of familiarity, and a strong sense of awareness of each other, okay? So I feel like they are important in each other's lives, okay? But yes, the connection does feel close, but it's not really defined in any sort of sense, okay? They are important in each other's lives, but there is no direction or clear label when it comes to their bond, okay? And so when it comes to Jung Haein, I do see that his energy leans more towards control and analysis, or hesitation and being emotionally guarded, okay? And I feel like he tends a lot to hold himself sometimes before acting, okay? And so I feel like her energy can sometimes be emotionally open or expressive, and I feel like she sometimes can feel drawn by feeling or chemistry, but she's also not sure how probably Jung Haein feels or intends, okay? So there's a part of their dynamic that is like sort of a mismatch of expression, okay? Like one side feels more and the other processes more, in a sense, okay? And so their connection sometimes can feel inconsistent, okay? And there's definitely a sense of attraction and potential energy between them, but it's not really grounded or clearly acted on, okay? And so I do see that Jung Haein can see her as someone interesting, and someone that is emotionally significant at times, but I feel like he doesn't really want to sort of see their connection at that way, at least right now, okay? And so that sort of holds him back from deciding what their connection actually means or where it's heading, okay? But I do feel like she is the one who is more like reading into things emotionally and putting a meaning into their bond, okay? But overall, like, their bond does feel like a sense of mutual awareness and having an emotional pull, but they both do sort of have like a different approach to things, and there's a sense of uncertainty. And to answer the question, he doesn't really see her as a specific romantic partner, but he's not really, but that is because he didn't really think of things that way. And so he didn't really sit down and feel like, oh, I do love this someone, or I want to get into a relationship with them. He hasn't sat down and thought that, okay? Because I feel like they have been set to sort of think of each other like in a friendly way and all of that. And so it didn't really cross his mind in that specific way, but he definitely does see her in a positive light, okay? Okay, last question we have here for Lee Soohyuk. Is he dating or does he have a love interest? What is going on in Lee Soohyuk's love life? Is he dating or does he have a love interest? Okay, so when it comes to Lee Soohyuk, I do feel like honestly that his love life is a bit complicated and not really fully settled right now, okay? Definitely there is signs of, things happening when it comes to his love life, like disruption or change. And there was at some point when it comes to his love life where something has been disrupted or ended in a certain way that wasn't really great, okay? So I do see a lot of social and romantic interaction around him, actually. So I do see potential love interest possibly for him. But, I feel like he isn't really open to anyone, okay? I do feel like he specifically opens up to certain people, not everyone. And so right now he isn't really completely closed off to connections or attention to others, but I feel like sometimes he sort of stops himself from, opening up to certain people at times, okay? And so I do see that there is a specific person that he finds attractive and does see them as potential romance, but it's definitely unstable right now, and he doesn't really have a clear definition of that certain bond right now, okay? There is a certain part of him that does sometimes try to push himself and move forward and explore, but at the same time there's a sense of emotional exhaustion that he can sometimes feel drained by certain relationship dynamics or pressure and all of that, okay? And so sometimes, he does find himself hard to connect to some people, okay, because of that, okay? But there's definitely something that he is feeling for someone that he is holding back right now, but he does see a specific person more than the other love interest as someone that is, that he's interested in, okay? And when it comes to that person, I do feel like that he feels a lot of sense of caring and that this person is emotionally impactful for them, and that person makes them feel things really deeply, and that's why they do feel like a sense that I can be open with this person, and for me that person is almost like a treasure because I'm not like this with every single person, okay? But right now, to answer the question, he's not really in a secured relationship, okay? But he definitely has a lot of love interest around him, but there is specifically one that he's interested in right now, okay? But things are not really moving forward at the moment. There's still something that he's holding in, okay? But there is multiple people that are around him that are interested in him, and I feel like they have been trying to show their interest for him, but I feel like, sometimes he can put his guard up, okay? And that's the Q&A, you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed and that all the questions make sense. I would love to hear you guys' feedback down in the comments below. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, please comment, share, and subscribe. I will be doing a giveaway of giving away memberships or private readings once I hit 5,000 subscribers. So thank you all so much for your love and for your support, and thank you all for their members for their support and for participating in the Q&A. And thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see you guys next time. Bye.